Bismillah walhamdulillah wasalat wasalam ala rasulullah, peace and blessings be upon him, my beloved brothers and sisters. When we talk about mornings, most people think of it as just the time to wake up, get dressed, and rush to work or school. But in reality, your morning is much more than that. It's not just the start of the day, it is the foundation upon which the rest of your day is built. Think about it for a moment. When you wake up feeling sluggish, distracted, or already stressed, doesn't it feel like the whole day carries that weight? On the other hand, when you begin with clarity, discipline, and purpose, suddenly everything else seems to flow more smoothly. That is no accident. Psychologists and thinkers throughout history have recognized that the first hours after you wake up set the rhythm for your mind, your emotions, and even your spiritual state. In Islam, this is not just a theory, it is a lived reality. The Prophet Muhammad understood the power of mornings so deeply that he made dua, "O Allah, bless my ummah in its early hours." That is profound. It means that there is a unique divine blessing placed in the morning that you cannot find later in the day. If you waste it, you have wasted a treasure. If you use it wisely, you have secured barakah, productivity, and peace for the rest of your day. And this isn't only about prayer, it's about the psychology of rhythm, the philosophy of time, and the way the human soul interacts with its creator in those quiet early hours. Science today confirms something our dean taught us 400 years ago. Studies on productivity and human behavior show that the brain in the early morning is fresh, uncluttered, and more capable of deep thought. You are less distracted because the world is quieter. Your energy is not yet drained by endless notifications, conversations, or stress. That is why many of the most successful people, regardless of religion, structure their mornings carefully. Now imagine combining that natural human advantage with the spiritual light of Fajr, with the remembrance of Allah, with the Qur'an. You are not just ahead in this dunya, you are preparing your akhirah as well. But let's go deeper. There is a psychological principle at play here, the concept of momentum. When you start something with focus and purpose, momentum carries it forward. If you begin your day with laziness, that laziness seeps into your work, your worship, and even your relationships. If you begin with strength and clarity, that strength becomes a pattern for your day. Your morning, in many ways, is like the opening chapter of a book. If the opening is weak, readers will struggle to continue. But if the opening is powerful, everything that follows has weight and meaning. Your life works the same way. Every day is a story, and the morning sets the tone. Philosophically, the morning also reminds us of something much deeper, renewal. Each time you wake up, it is as if Allah has given you a new chance. Sleep is described in the Quran as a form of minor death. When you rise in the morning, it is as if life has been returned to you. So how can we take this gift of renewal and then throw it away by starting with neglect, or worse, with sin? Your morning is a statement to yourself and to Allah about what kind of life you are choosing to live. If you cannot master the first hour of your day, how can you hope to master the entire day, or ultimately your entire life? So the next time you wake up, don't see it as just another morning. See it as an opportunity, a responsibility, and a gift. The way you use those first moments after your eyes open will shape not just your day, but your character, your faith, and your future. If you win your morning, you will win your day. And if you keep winning your days one by one, you will win your life. If we're honest with ourselves, the true test of how seriously we take our mornings is found in one simple question. Do we wake up for Fajr, or do we sleep through it? Because everything we said earlier about mornings setting the tone for the day reaches its peak here. Fajr is not just another prayer. It is the very foundation of success, not just success in the hereafter, but even in how your day unfolds in this world. Think about it. Fajr comes at a time when your body craves sleep, when your nafs is whispering, just a few more minutes under the blanket. It's at that exact point that Allah is calling you to rise, to discipline yourself, to prove that you place His command above your comfort. This is where strength is built. Waking up for Fajr trains you to master your desires rather than allowing your desires to master you. And anyone who has studied human behavior knows the people who master themselves are the people who succeed in life. Now, let's reflect on the wisdom behind Fajr being placed at this particular time of day. The early morning is when the world is still, when distractions are minimal, when your heart can connect with Allah in a way that is difficult later in the day. Imagine the spiritual clarity of beginning your day by standing before your Creator, reciting His words while most of the world is still asleep. It is as if you are charging your soul with divine energy before stepping into the chaos of life. Just as your phone needs to be charged in the morning, your soul needs that spiritual charge, and Fajr provides exactly that. There is also something psychological here. When you conquer the hardest challenge at the very start of your day, everything else becomes easier. If you can defeat the whisper that says, "Stay in bed," then facing the meeting at work, the exam at school, or the responsibilities of life suddenly feel lighter. You've already proven to yourself that you can overcome resistance. The discipline of Fajr spills over into your entire routine. It becomes the backbone of your time management, your productivity, even your resilience against stress. But beyond psychology, there is something far more profound. The Quran says, "Indeed, the recitation of the Quran at dawn is ever witnessed." 17:78. That means when you recite Quran at Fajr, the angels bear witness to it. This isn't just your private act of devotion, it is something registered in the unseen realm. Imagine beginning every day with that level of honor, your voice reciting Quran, recorded not only on earth, but in the heavens. Could there be a greater source of strength? Philosophically, Fajr also reminds us of purpose. Life is not about chasing comfort, it is about fulfilling responsibility. If we cannot wake up for the most important appointment of the day, our meeting with Allah, then what does that say about our priorities? If we can sacrifice a little sleep for our careers, for our studies, or even just for entertainment, then surely Allah deserves more. Every missed Fajr is not just the loss of a prayer, it is the loss of an opportunity to align your life with the one who controls your destiny. So when you rise for Fajr, you are making a statement to yourself, to the world, and to Allah. You are declaring, "I value guidance over comfort, I value discipline over laziness, I value the eternal over the temporary." That one act of obedience redefines who you are and what you stand for. And the reality is simple. If you win Fajr, you win the day. And if you keep winning your days, you will eventually win your life, and inshallah, your akhirah. After you have disciplined yourself to rise for Fajr, there is something that takes your morning to another level entirely, and that is filling it with the remembrance of Allah and with the Quran. You see, prayer is the foundation, but dhikr and Quran are the nourishment. They are what bring light into the heart, clarity into the mind, and peace into the soul. Without them, life feels heavy, no matter how much we achieve. With them, even the toughest challenges can feel lighter, because you are connected to the one who controls all affairs. Let's think about this in simple terms. Your body needs breakfast to have energy for the day. If you skip it, you feel weak and drained. In the same way, your heart and soul need their own nourishment in the morning. And the nourishment of the soul is the remembrance of Allah. The Quran calls it a healing and a mercy for the believers. It's not just a ritual, it's medicine. If you begin your morning without this, you are stepping into the day spiritually empty. But if you begin with it, you are stepping into the day fortified with strength that no worldly source can provide. Psychologically, this makes a huge difference. Modern science talks about the impact of morning routines on mental health. People who start their day with calm reflection, meditation, or affirmations are proven to be more focused and resilient. Now think about what dhikr and Quran are. They are the purest form of meditation and affirmation, but far beyond human invention, they are divinely designed. When you say Subhanallah or Alḥamdulillāh in the morning, you are not just calming yourself, you are aligning your mind with reality that Allah is in control, that every blessing deserves gratitude, and that your worries are never greater than His mercy. There's also a deeper philosophical point here. Every morning the world will try to pull you in 100 directions, work deadlines, social pressures, financial stress. If you don't anchor your heart early, you will be tossed around by those waves all day. But if your anchor is dhikr and Quran, then no matter how stormy life gets, you remain centered. The Quran describes it beautifully. Verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest. That rest, that sakinah, is what carries you through the day with balance. And think about the Quran specifically. Reciting even a few verses in the morning opens doors of light. The Prophet encouraged us to recite Surah Al-Iqra, Surah Al-Falaq, and Surah Al-Nas in the mornings for protection. He told us about the blessings of Ayat al-Kursi, about the power of the morning adhkar. These are not small acts, they are shields. They protect you from the unseen harms, from the whispers of shaytan, and even from the anxieties that so many of us carry within. Imagine stepping into your day knowing you are spiritually guarded. That is a completely different way of living. Even from a productivity standpoint, starting with Qur'an sharpens the mind, the Arabic words, the rhythm, the reflection, they engage your brain in a way that strengthens focus. Many of the early scholars used to say that if they skipped Qur'an in the morning, their concentration in other matters would suffer. That is how directly connected it is. When you begin with Qur'an, it's as though your mind is tuned like an instrument ready to perform with clarity and precision. So never underestimate this. A few moments of dhikr, a few verses of Qur'an, can change the entire quality of your day. Don't see it as a burden or a task, see it as your daily dose of light. Because without light, we stumble in the dark, no matter how strong we think we are. But with light, even a single step forward becomes meaningful. If you truly want peace, clarity, and strength in your mornings, give your soul what it is craving. Begin your day not with endless scrolling, not with stress, but with the words of Allah. Because when the Qur'an and the remembrance of Allah are the first things to touch your heart in the morning, everything else you face that day becomes easier to bear. One of the greatest secrets to both worldly success and spiritual growth lies in something very simple: starting early. Islam has always emphasized the value of the early hours, and when you look around, you'll notice that many of the most accomplished people in any field also understand this principle. There is a barakah, a blessing, in the early morning that you will not find later in the day. The Prophet made a special dua: "O Allah, bless my ummah in its early hours." That means if you truly want to taste productivity, peace, and growth, you cannot afford to waste the morning. Think about what happens when you wake up late. The day already feels rushed. You're playing catch-up, running from one task to another, feeling like you're behind even before you've started. Compare that to someone who rises early, prays, makes dhikr, reads some Qur'an, and then organizes their tasks. They begin with clarity, not chaos. They are leading the day, not chasing it. That difference is not just about time management, it's about mindset. Starting early trains you to live with intention rather than simply reacting to circumstances. Psychologists often talk about decision fatigue, the idea that the more decisions you make throughout the day, the weaker your ability to focus becomes. That's why the early hours are so powerful. Your mind is fresh, uncluttered, and capable of its deepest focus. You can do in 1 hour of the morning what might take 3 hours in the afternoon. This is why students who revise at dawn remember better, and professionals who work in the early hours often produce their best ideas. Allah has placed barakah there, and science simply confirms it. But barakah is not just efficiency. It's something more subtle, more profound. It's when your efforts produce more than what logic would suggest. You may do the same amount of work at another time of day, but the results will not be the same. That's because barakah is divine. It's Allah expanding the value of your time, your energy, and even your thinking. And barakah is something you cannot buy, you cannot hack, you cannot fake. You earn it by aligning yourself with the sunnah, by respecting the early hours, by remembering Allah when most people are still asleep. Now let's reflect philosophically. Time is the one resource every human being is given equally. Whether you are rich or poor, educated or uneducated, every single person receives the same 24 hours in a day. What makes the difference is not how much time you have, but how you use it. If you waste the early hours, you are literally discarding the most precious portion of your day. It's like throwing away gold to hold onto scraps of paper. Waking up early is not just about being productive. It is about valuing your life, valuing your purpose, valuing the opportunity Allah has given you. And there is also something deeply spiritual here. When you rise early and begin your day with Allah, you are saying through your actions, "Ya Allah, you come first." That alignment doesn't just affect your worship, it affects everything. It makes your work more sincere, your relationships more meaningful, your struggles more bearable. It's as though Allah places His hand of guidance over the rest of your day. That is why you'll often hear people say, when I start my day early with Allah, everything else flows more smoothly. It's not superstition, it's the reality of barakah. So, don't underestimate what those early hours mean for your life. They are the difference between stumbling through the day and walking through it with clarity. They are the difference between endless exhaustion and purposeful energy. And most importantly, they are the difference between a life that is ordinary and a life that is blessed. If you want true productivity, don't just look for hacks or shortcuts. Look for barakah, and barakah begins when you give value to the morning. Because the one who owns the morning owns the day, and the one who owns the day owns the life. One of the most powerful things you can do in the morning is to begin with gratitude. Before the rush of the day, before the messages, the emails, the stress, just pause and say Alḥamdulillāh. That single phrase shifts the entire atmosphere of your heart. It tells your mind, I am not starting with loss, I am starting with abundance. It reminds your soul, whatever happens today, I already have blessings that cannot be counted. And it acknowledges to Allah, Ya Allah, I see your favors upon me and I am grateful. Now why is this so important? Because your mindset shapes your reality. Two people can face the same challenges, but the one who carries gratitude in their heart will see opportunities where the other only sees problems. Gratitude reprograms the way you experience life. Psychologists today speak about the science of positivity, how expressing gratitude rewires the brain to reduce stress, increase resilience, and strengthen focus. But Islam taught us this long before science discovered it. Allah promises in the Qur'an, if you are grateful, I will surely increase you. That's not only an increase in material blessings, it's an increase in barakah, in inner strength, in clarity, in ability to handle what life throws at you. So when you wake up and your first words are Alḥamdulillāh aladhi ayana bada ma amatana wa alayhi al. Nashar, all praise is due to Allah who gave us life after causing us to die. And to Him is the return. You are doing more than reciting a supplication. You are setting the tone of your life. You are declaring that even waking up is a gift, that life itself is a blessing, that nothing you face today will erase the favor of being alive with another chance to serve Allah. Gratitude also protects you from one of the greatest traps of modern life, comparison. We live in a world where the moment you wake up, you can open your phone and see someone else's house, someone else's car, someone else's achievements. If you're not careful, your heart begins the day with envy instead of contentment. But when you ground yourself in gratitude, you look at what you have and realize, Allah has given me exactly what I need right now. And from that space, you can work, you can grow, you can aspire without the bitterness of envy. Philosophically, gratitude is an act of humility. It's recognizing that we are not entitled to anything. The air we breathe, the food we eat, the relationships we have, even the ability to stand and walk, none of these are guaranteed. To start the morning with gratitude is to say, I acknowledge that I am a receiver, not the owner. I acknowledge that all good flows from Allah. And that humility creates a mind that is balanced, a heart that is soft, and a life that is at peace. On the other hand, beginning your day with complaints, negativity, or a sense of entitlement creates a ripple effect. If your first thought is, I didn't get enough sleep, my life is so difficult, nothing is going my way, then your mind is already tinted with negativity. That lens will color how you see the rest of the day. Even blessings will look like burdens because your mindset has been poisoned. Gratitude cleans that lens, it allows you to see clearly. So ask yourself each morning, will I begin my day with complaint or with appreciation? Will I focus on what I lack or on what I've been given? The choice seems small, but it is enormous in its impact. Gratitude doesn't just change your mood, it changes your life. Start with gratitude every morning, and you'll notice that your days will feel lighter, your problems smaller, and your blessings greater. Because when you train your heart to see Allah's gifts in the morning, you will carry that vision through the rest of your day. The one who wakes up with gratitude doesn't just survive the day, they thrive in it. And if you thrive in your days, you will thrive in your life. If you pause and think about it, your morning is not just a part of your day, it is a reflection of your entire life's direction. The way you rise, the way you begin, the habits you repeat every morning are shaping who you are becoming. You cannot separate your days from your life, because your life is simply a collection of days. And you cannot separate your life from your mornings, because your mornings decide how those days will unfold. That is why the morning is such a powerful mirror. It shows you very clearly what kind of future you are building. Look at it this way. If someone consistently wakes up late, misses Fajr, begins the day with scrolling or stress, rushing without focus, what does that pattern reveal? It reveals a life of reaction, of distraction, of missed opportunities. Now compare that to someone who rises for Fajr, who takes a moment of gratitude, who recites Qur'an, organizes themselves and steps into the day with intention. That pattern reflects a life of discipline, of clarity, of purpose. The morning is never neutral. It is either pulling you toward a meaningful life or pushing you toward a wasted one. Psychologists often emphasize the importance of routines because routines create identity. If your routine is chaotic, your identity slowly becomes chaotic. If your routine is purposeful, your identity becomes purposeful. This is why our Deen emphasizes the early hours so much. Allah doesn't need your Fajr, you need your Fajr. Allah doesn't need your dhikr, you need your dhikr. These are not just rituals, they are anchors that shape who you are becoming every single day. The consistency of your mornings will eventually become the consistency of your life. Philosophically, it's worth asking, what is life except a series of mornings? Every morning is a chance to reset, to renew, to write a new page. That is why the Prophet taught us dua to say when we wake up, reminding us that sleep is like a minor death and waking up is like being given life again. Every morning is Allah saying to you, here is another chance. What will you do with it? If you treat that chance casually, your life will reflect that carelessness. But if you treat it with seriousness, with purpose, with discipline, then your life will reflect that beauty. And there is also a practical reality. The small choices you make in the morning compound over time. Missing one Fajr might not feel like much, but missing it consistently creates a life where Allah is absent from your mornings. Saying Alḥamdulillāh once might feel small, but saying it every morning creates a heart trained in gratitude. Reading one page of Qur'an might not transform your day, but reading it every morning for years will transform your life. Small habits, repeated in the morning, carve the path of your future. So don't underestimate the reflection your mornings are giving you. If you are unhappy with the direction of your life, start by looking at your mornings. Are they filled with light or with neglect, with purpose or with distraction, with gratitude or with complaint? The answer to those questions will tell you more about your destiny than any plan or dream you write down on paper. And the beautiful thing is this, you can change it. You can decide tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes, to live differently. You don't need to wait for a new year, a new season, or a new stage in life. Every morning is already a new beginning, a fresh page, a fresh chance. So my brothers and sisters, remember this. If you win the morning, you win the day. If you win your days, you win your life, and if you win your life with Allah, you win eternity. That is the power of the morning. It is not just about today, it is about forever.